Bucks McGee, it's AFC West time. The land of the champs.
Oh yes, yes. Taylor Swift City. Yep. Let's just get it over with, and we just know how this is gonna turn. So let's just do what we do.
We might actually, because oddly enough, as we've gone through 5 shows so thus far already, we've
Yeah.
actually ripped through quite a few matchups in this division already through the other divisions. So we've got a pretty good base for these. So we could probably spend more time on actually talking topics and less game on the actual matchups because we've got 10 games out of each schedule already decided.
Wow, man, that was rough. I think we probably put the exclamation point on most of them during last show there out of the NFC South. So this ought to be a good one.
We did actually. And just for the record, our audience knows that you are not the biggest fan of the Kansas City train, the Taylor Swift saga. Um,
No, I'm
but
not.
but the Kansas City faithful may be uh, inclined to know that through our previous shows, you've gifted them an 8-2 record going into the rest of their schedule.
So I don't want to hear a thing from any Kansas City Chief fan. I don't want to hear nothing, nothing. That's like the best I think I've done all so far every show, 8-2. I think that's the best I've done.
Yeah. So setting up from last year, the Chiefs kind of walked to this division, although I don't think it had the appearance of it till a little later on. But they finished at the top at 11-6. Vegas had a late charge to finish in 8-9. Came very close to making a surprise playoff berth. Did not do that, obviously. Denver had a little bit of a bell curve season. They got off to a horrendous start, had a little bit of a spike in the middle, and then for some reason Sean Payton benched Russ and cratered out the rest of the way.
Yep, that was all contract because Russ didn't want to rework his contract. So Peyton said, "All right, well, we'll just tank the season, and here we go."
And whether you want to blame it on injuries or the absolute ineptitude of former head coach Brandon Staley, the Chargers finish in the basement at 5-12. Justin Herbert's coronation as top QB in the league waits at least one more season.
Yeah, that team with all that talent to only win 5 games is absolutely ridiculous. You knew it was time for a change once that happened.
Yeah. So let's dive right into the Chiefs. And we have them starting off with I should say at least a 3-game winning streak.
Okay.
We paid homage to their being the champs on opening night with a win over Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
and the second of back-to-back home games, beating Cincinnati, one of the least games from schedule night.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and on top of that, first road game in Atlanta, primetime Sunday night, we gave them the dub in that one. So you feel good about that 3-game streak to start the season for the champs.
Yeah, I do. I think most people would say that's a 3-0 start. I think the only somewhat question is Atlanta. Nobody knows what they're going to be, but no, I think 3-0 is fine.
Now, the next up, it could very well be 4-0 because the next one is a road game, their first divisional matchup, their first matchup with the Chargers.
Like I'm trying to find the game to give that Chargers that. Yeah, there we go. And this is not it. So yeah, the Chargers are still feeling themselves out. I'm giving it to the champs.
4-0. Now we gave them 5-0 with a extra rest going to a Monday nighter against your rival Saints.
Mm-hmm.
So 5-0 going into an early Week 6 bye. Do you like 5-0 going to the bye? Do you think that's the champs going to be beating their chest out a little bit, or do you think that bye is coming in a little too early? They're hot. They're feeling themselves. Maybe it won't. Maybe it's a little
A little too soon.
too much heat at the top. Yeah, too soon. Thank you.
Yeah, if I'm Kansas City, I probably would want another 2 or 3 weeks before I get that by. Hopefully maybe get get tested a little bit. But that's the schedule, guys. That's how they do it. So 5-0. It's great to be 5-0, but I think the bye's a little too quick. Is what it is.
Do you add an extra exclamation point to that being too soon, given that there's not a lot of elite competition aside from the Ravens and potentially Atlanta. There's not a lot of elite competition before they get to that bye.
Well, I'd like to give Cincinnati that chance to be elite, but I just don't know what Cincinnati's going to give because we just don't know if Joe's going to be healthy and with them getting rid of Mixon and everything there. So I think they kind of moved down a bit of a notch. So, let's say in theory, 2 elite games, 2 out of 5. It's not bad. I think you're kind of tested a little early. You can't say it's 3 cupcake games because Cincinnati, I think, is still going to give them something. So I still would probably want to play a couple more games before my bye, but no, I think 5-0. You take what you can get.
Yeah, and with Cincinnati, if memory serves correctly, you were down on Cincinnati when you did the AFC North show. Like, you don't have a lot of confidence in them.
I don't have confidence in them because I don't know what we're going to get. Let's be honest. If Joe stays healthy, okay. Wide receiver wise, they've got everybody back. There's going to be change after this season for sure. I'm sure some guys are leaving. There were some guys who were looking to get out. Trey Hendrickson, on defense was one of the guys who was looking to leave. Mixon being gone, I think, hurts them. I really like Mixon. Their run game is going to be interesting to see how that develops. But they just have to perform. Joe needs to be healthy. If Joe is healthy, they got a shot. But if not, this team is mediocre at best.
Yeah. Instant test, by the way, coming out of the bye week, going on the road, but you gifted them the win in the artist formerly known as Candlestick. So this is an interesting way to broach this, since we gave Kansas City the win here. This is obviously a Super Bowl matchup. It's in the America's Game of the Week time slot. Is this the type of game where, what do you think? How much of a mirror image are we going to get from the Super Bowl, given what these teams did in the offseason to this point?
Well, if you're honest, if you look at what was done in the offseason, Kansas City should have improved because, they did address their need at wide receiver. That was the biggest question with this team. They couldn't catch a ball for anything. They had drops. They couldn't count on their receivers. So, Mahomes had to, pull some games, out of his end there. San Fran pretty much stayed status quo for the most part. I don't think there was any real improvement either way. They're solid all around. So I think this might be the game where people are like, okay, are the wide receivers legit now in Kansas City? Is Kansas City at this point head and shoulders above everybody else? This is, like you said, it's a Super Bowl rematch. So now we're going to find out what Kansas City truly is. I think this might be the test for them.
And to that point, San Francisco also didn't just subtract anything. Didn't subtract anything because we know Ayuk was a trade rumor during the offseason. And Debo, there were rumors about some drama there. So they do bring the same team intact. So do you think it's obviously we've got Kansas City on paper winning this one, but if they were to meet again, this in the Super Bowl next year, do you think it would be a repeat of what we saw previously, or do you think San Francisco might get some revenge?
San Francisco could get revenge, but I think there's 2 variables. You need CMC to be healthy. Don't forget he's the Madden cover guy this year, and so we all know the history with this. Yeah. I think the jinx has kind of been broken. Josh Allen, had a quality year last year, so I think he was okay. But Brock Purdy needs to be the guy. Brock Purdy's got to play better. He wasn't horrible last year, but he needs to be elite. He's going to have to be that guy. And if he's not that guy and really has to, basically have to trust the other guys and him not perform, and be that elite quarterback that people swear he can be, then it could be just the same result.
The Madden, who broke the Madden cover? Wasn't it the dual cover with your boy?
Yeah, if I want to.
Who else? Who was on? Was it Pat? He was on the cover with. Who was he on the cover with?
It was him and Mahomes.
Okay.
It was him and Mahomes. So I guess that would have broke it. I guess you could say.
So 6-0 going into another divisional game, another divisional road game. This one's in Vegas.
Dick.
Hiccup? This is a hiccup?
This is a hiccup. This is a hiccup game. I'm good. I think the Raiders, for some reason, just know how to play them.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's just one of those games where the Chiefs just don't play well. I don't know why. And the Raiders just play above who they are. So I could see the Raiders pulling this out.
Yeah. And, hatred makes the heart grow fonder,
Very true. Very true. It does. It does.
So they rebound quick with some extra rest. We gave them the win at home against your Bucks on the following Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked a little in the NFC South show about your Bucks matching up, how they match up in your San Francisco game. How does your defense strengths and weaknesses match up with Kansas City?
I like the secondary against them. My question is the line play. We have to be able to hold Mahomes. You got, because everyone knows what he can do, especially when he runs for first downs, when it looks like he's not going to make it, but he somehow, pulls out 2 or 3 first downs in that like pivotal drive of every game. It's one of those things where you got to keep Mahomes in the pocket and force him throw it, like literally become a pocket passer. Because once he rolls out and those receivers have speed, they could break some things down. So it's going to be a question of whether our D-line can basically keep Mahomes in the pocket and force him to just be a pocket passer. Now, people are going to say, oh, well, he can throw the ball, so that's really not going to do anything, but I feel it does. I think it kind of limits what he can do. And I feel with our secondary speed, it can kind of hold these receivers in check. So I think with them against the Chiefs against anybody, it's keeping Mahomes in the pocket.
Are you at all concerned with any of their new offensive targets kind of giving Mahomes an extra edge with your secondary?
Well, they've got speed, and of course everyone knows, if you're not smart or careful, speed kills. But I need to see what Marquise Brown is going to do, because let's be honest, he's decent, but it's not like people are sitting there scared of him. And then, you got Worthy from Texas, the rookie. I think the kid is explosive. Going to see how it translates in the league, because you get a lot of guys who come in who have speed who don't translate. Remember Ross from the Bengals? Mm-hmm. The guy had incredible speed at the 40 at the combine. And, everyone was like, oh, this is the guy. And he's bounced around team after team. And I don't even know if he's still in the league anymore. So just because you're fast doesn't mean anything. It's the route running. It's understanding what that defensive back is doing when you're getting jammed or anything like that. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of nuance to it. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Justin Ross?
What's his name? Justin?
With a Y, Justin with a Y. He's on the Chiefs now.
Well, if that's him, then yeah, then there you go. So that's great. You're going to throw the speed on there, but if they can't catch the ball, they were fast last year. They couldn't catch the ball.
Yeah. Well, who's potentially a better option, a better new option for Mahomes? Is it Xavier Worthy or is it Hollywood Brown? Which one do you trust more as far as a difference maker?
Right now, I guess I would say Brown by default, because he's been in the league, so he knows he can walk out on the field and play right away. Worthy, I don't know if he's going to catch on quick or if it's going to be one of those things where he goes through that growing pains as a rookie and then all of a sudden it clicks. But right now, I guess you'd have to take Brown.
Last divisional opponent next up at home against the Broncos.
Oh, come on, man. Really? like no.
I had to ask. I had to be professional.
Okay. Be professional. Nope.
Next up, though,
Mhm.
very much one of the games you mark on your calendars on the road in Orchard Park. The Bills, obviously, a lot of retooling. We'll keep it polite and say in the offseason. They obviously have a playoff history. Josh Allen is still waiting to get the Mahomes gorilla off his back. How do you like this matchup shaking out?
Wow. Oof. I'm going to give it to Buffalo. I think this is one of the games where Buffalo finds a way to win. I think Kansas City kind of reverts back to the dropsies, and, Kelsey's health is also important here. He's a year older.
Mm-hmm.
I think Buffalo, even though I feel they lost a bit on defense, I think they've got enough where they can survive and pull this out. So I'm going to give Buffalo this win.
Solid. Rebound with this on the second of back-to-back road games with the win over the lowly Panthers.
Look at that! Surprise.
And a short-ish week on the short-ish week in the second Raiders matchup. The lovely Black Friday game. Hopefully we have a better Black Friday game than the Jets and Dolphins.
Do you really need a Black Friday game? Believe me, I love football, or I wouldn't be sitting here doing this. But do I really need a Black Friday game? Do I really need a Black Friday game? I'm going with the split, so they handle the Raiders. I think you got to go the split.
Next up, home again. Little teeny bit of extra rest because it's a Sunday nighter and they're home against the Chargers. How are you calling the sweep?
No. I think at this point in the season, the Chargers are starting to find out who they are, and I think they might pull something out. They figure something out. I think the Chiefs probably look past them slightly. It's a divisional game, so I'll give this to the Chargers. This is the game the Chargers hang their hat on for the season.
Yes. Well, we'll get into that in a moment because they might need one of those at this point.
Oh man.
Next up, we gave them the win on the road in the dog pound, and then we gave them back-to-back losses against one definitely better competition, one maybe a loss at home Saturday night in Houston. That's the Netflix game. That's the Christmas Day game. Mm-hmm. And then, no, I'm sorry, that's the week before. And then the Xmas game on a short week, the Christmas game on a short week on the road in Pittsburgh, back-to-back losses. They close out the season on the road with the Broncos. Sweep the Broncos?
Sweep the Broncos. Sweep the Broncos. They're my new Panthers. We said this already. Sweep the Broncos.
That being said, that's actually probably very good for the Chiefs not to end the season on a 3-game losing streak with a black eye to your lowly division rival.
See, there you go.
So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 12 and 5. That seems to be the number when we pick a good schedule. If you like 12 and 5, and with your margin of error of 2, how do you like 14? How do you like 10?
I think 10 is too low. I think they're a better unless an injury happens or they just literally just screw the pooch. I think they're better than a 10 win team for sure. 14, they could, a couple of those games, like the Buffalo game, they could turn around and just tear them to shreds. There are a couple games where, I was like, all right, I got to pick a loss somewhere. So this could happen. So So no, 14 could happen, but I think 12 to 13 is their ceiling. But I think
do you think they're better than the Super Bowl champs of last year?
If those receivers catch, then yes. But here's the thing: they did lose a little bit on defense. They did lose Ladarius Sneed. Sneed is gone now. Let's and I think he was the best corner they had. I think it's going to be interesting to see. Chris Jones has to play at the same level he played last year. They had their linebackers are good. Nick Bolton. They've got some guys on that defense that are solid. There's no doubt. But if the secondary slips up a bit, that could cause some problems for them.
And they got to stop getting everybody arrested in the offseason.
Yeah, exactly. Like Rice, come on now, bro. But, and I'll be honest here, that offense, and everyone will tell you, it runs through Travis Kelce. If Kelce, for some reason, doesn't have a quality season, that offense could be in trouble. So it's interesting to see. But, yeah, they're a 12 to 13 win team.
So before we go into the rest of the division, I got to preface this. If people remember our preview last season, we were a little high on this division.
And every right to. We had every right to. Like, if these teams had played to their potential, come on now. Like, literally almost all those teams could have made the playoffs.
Yeah. It was a little bit of wearing egg on the face, to say the least.
I didn't feel bad. They sucked. It wasn't my fault. Not my fault. They did Russ dirty, and I don't know. It's not my fault. There was horrible head coaching in San Diego or in LA. That wasn't my fault. The Raiders, I kind of feel good. They almost made it. Antonio Pierce came back and they kind of helped us, but little did we know that there was going to be ineptitude with the Chargers. The Broncos were going to screw the pooch and just not care.
Yeah.
So we went on potential, and people did not reach potential.
So let me state these records before we rip through the rest of the games for these three teams. We did add a split for the Raiders. So right now we go into the Raiders schedule with them handicapping them at 3-9.
All right.
And wait. And we did the same thing for the Chargers just now. So we also handicapped them at 3-9.
Well, that's legit.
And
damn, wow, Raiders.
With the season sweep of the Broncos at the hands of the Chiefs, that takes their handicap to 0-12.
Well, you know what? If we're going to screw one division over 2 years in a row, this will be it. We went from full confidence to nothing.
So watch, of course, the way the season will end. They'll all make the playoffs, or 3 of the 4 will make the playoffs.
For some reason, the Chiefs turn dismal into 9-8 and don't make the playoffs, and the Broncos are like 12-5.
That's right. Of the 3 that make the playoffs, the one that does is Kansas City because something god awful happens.
Damn.
All right, so Raiders right off the top. They start on the road with the Chargers. Who gets their 4th win here?
The Raiders.
Okay.
The Raiders. I think the Raiders are there. They're coming off a high of last year, so I'm taking the Raiders here.
You gave them a loss in week 2, their second of back-to-back road games to the Ravens, and then they come home in their home opener. It's so weird. Maybe this is just a byproduct of the 17-game schedule, but it's so weird to see home openers in week 3.
Yeah. Yeah, like you would think it's either week 1 or week 2, but the way things are now and the way they use these stadiums, especially these newer stadiums for concerts and everything. Yeah, you would think the NFL team would have seniority, but nope. It's probably Taylor Swift in there or something. So there you go. Thank them.
No one gets seniority over Taylor Swift.
Whatever.
Coming off the win over the Carolinas, they drop one to Cleveland, and now a road game against the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got it. You know what? No. I'm going to give the Broncos this one. I will give the Broncos this win. Like, something's got to click at some point. Give it to the Broncos.
Well, that's not very good because you have them losing the next two at home to Pittsburgh and on the road against the Rams, a 4-game losing streak. However, going into the bye, the slip-up win for the Chiefs, the slip-up win for them against slip-up game for the Chiefs, winning that one, and then on the road pulling the upset over to the Bengals. So 2 wins going into the bye. That is 4 and 5, despite this little rocky and a 4-game losing streak. 4 and 5 going into the bye.
Okay, I feel confident with that. Okay, we cleaned it up. You premised gloom and doom at the beginning of this, but no, 4 and 5. The issue is at quarterback, we don't know what we're gonna get. Like, it's a big question. And then at running back, Josh Jacobs is gone, so it's going to be all on this defense, I honestly believe. I will be surprised if Devontae Adams is still there come the trade deadline. I don't know. Like, if he loves the Raiders and wants to be there, then fine. I'll respect you for that. But the quarterback situation is really rough, and you're wasting the prime years of probably one of the top 3 receivers in the league.
Yeah. And he went there to play with his boy, and his boy got shipped out right away.
Yeah, and look at his boy now. I wouldn't want to play with that. Unfortunately, things had to be shown to you, Devontae.
I had to dangle the carrot for you.
But honestly, don't be surprised if he ends up being a Jet. Let's be honest. I think he could end up going to the Jets are going all in because how many years left do you have with A-Rod? This could happen, and they'll get a haul for him.
So what you're saying is the Jets are going to be miserable again this year, and then next year go all out, bring back Devontae Adams and
they're going to do it this year.
Supreme.
Oh no, the Jets.
At the trade deadline.
At the trade deadline, because think about it, is A-Rod after this year? Like, what? He's on He's on a 3-year deal. So like, what really is this? Like, what are you getting? If the Jets and you know how the Jets roll. They're desperate enough to save a season, especially if they're still within striking distance here. Why not? Won't be the first time they gave away a haul for nothing. You get Devontae, and next thing you know, A-Rod leaves, and then you're going to end up drafting another crud quarterback, and there it is again.
And repeat the cycle for another 15 years.
And then Devontae says, why? Can I just get somebody? First half of my career was great. Now look at me.
Now I can't keep a quarterback for more than 2 seasons.
He's like, thanks to me. I love to be a Raider. Yes. Anyway, that was the downfall. Once you became a Raider, it was just the downfall.
Out of the bye on the road in South Beach.
Against Miami, huh? Dang. Ooh. It's going to be close, but I think Tua pulls it out.
Okay. Here's the other Denver game.
I think Denver's putrid. I'm calling a sweep on this one. I don't.
You had them losing.
Oh, that's right.
First time.
Oh, that's right. I had them losing, but yeah. So they right the ship here. They right the ship here.
Well, let me tell you, that is very good because you had them losing the next 5 after that on the Black Friday game.
Okay.
On the road to the Bucks, a Monday nighter against Atlanta.
Okay.
Jacksonville at home. Atlanta was also at home, by the way, and then a road game to the Saints.
All right. So those last 2 could very well be flipped into wins. So I'm okay. So you can take me to the woodshed for the last 2. But those other 3 before, you can't tell me otherwise. So okay. So that's where my 2+ come in right there.
2. Well, we'll find out what we're adding the 2-2 for margin of error because the last game of the season is at home against the Chargers.
Wow, against the Chargers. And did they take it? Did I have them? I had them beating the Chargers in the first game, right?
Yes. Oh, wow, that's crazy. They start the season and end the season against the same opponent. Interesting.
Wow, against the Chargers. Wow. I'm going to have them. Oh, wow. I'm going to have them split.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Absolutely.
Ending the season of the 6-game losing streak. Yeah. That is a whopping 5-12. So even with your margin of error of 2, that still only takes them to 7-10.
No, and I'm not
At
upset
best,
with
at
at
best.
best. At best, I'm not upset with it. I'm not upset because I just don't trust the quarterbacks. I don't. Hopefully I'm wrong, and by week 7, we'll be honest. We're assuming that O'Connell's going to be the guy. We're going to assume that, right? I think, unless Uncle Rico lights it up in preseason, and they're like, "No, this is the guy." He very well could. He could have another Indy type year.
Yes.
But
be easy on my feelings.
But yeah, like if teams shut down Devontae, like who else is what is the offense? You've got Mayer at tight end. They did draft. Didn't they draft Brock Bowers?
Brock Bowers.
So you got Brock Bowers.
Doesn't make any sense to me. You draft a young tight end that you're very heavily invested in, a lot of potential, and then you do the exact same thing another year.
Well, they say that he's almost like a wide receiver. Bowers. So maybe they end up lining him up at wide receiver a bit. So there's some talent there, but like your run game, I don't know what it is. If you can't run the ball, then you're not doing anything.
It's funny that they have those double tight ends and one's almost a wide receiver. Makes you think that a little Patriots East mojo. And I thought Josh McGee was gone and out of town now. What's this remnant left?
I don't know. Like I understand Bowers is a great talent. Like I get that. But you're telling me that you couldn't package that deal and basically say, you know what, we need to figure out our quarterback of the future? Because you truly believe in O'Connell. Do you really think he's the guy? I don't. Because if he bottoms out this year, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I hope I'm wrong for Raider Nation. Maybe they can scoop out 3 to 4 wins, and I was totally wrong. But I'm not really excited about this team.
No. Well, one team you are definitely not excited about is the Denver Broncos, unless the man, the myth, the legend winds up under center at some point this season.
Unless they cut Ben DiNucci, I don't know. And I don't. You know what? It might be better if Ben just gets cut. Like, let's be real here. I'm at the point now where I don't want anybody to go through that drama, that pitifulness. Just so you could say you played a season in the NFL, you end up getting crushed, that concussed or something. So I don't know, but let's get it on. Oh, Lord.
So right now you have improved them from 0-12 to 1-13.
God. Wow, I have really shat the bed on this situation. Sorry, Denver. It's true. Y'all are horrible. No one believes. You got wide receivers. You ain't got a quarterback. Like it's horrible. Horrible.
Start. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get my head right. Starting off the season with 3 straight losses on the road to Seattle, at home to Pittsburgh, and on the road in Tampa Bay. Their 4th game, just keep coming up with the Jets on the road in New York. Isn't this because there was issues last year with help me with the coach's name, Rodgers' boy, Rodgers' guy.
What was that? Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, he was the coach of Denver. Oh man, that's how. Maybe Rodgers isn't right. Maybe it's just that. Maybe Russell's right. He's just that forgettable.
Oh man,
Nathaniel Hackett.
That's right, Nathaniel Hackett, the hack himself.
Yeah. So, what do you think? So last year that game obviously didn't happen because Rodgers got hurt, but game was in Denver. This game's in New York. So maybe this one's Rodgers has even more of a proving point to light them up. I mean, hopefully he can at least last for 4 games. He could.
Dude, this is it for the Jets. The Jets have to. If the Jets lose to Denver, like I feel like I'm putting my life on the line by picking the Jets here because the Jets will just do me wrong. And I swear to you, if the Jets lose, I don't even know whoever the starter is, right? Whoever the starter is, week 4 for Denver. If Denver beats the Jets, we're getting that jersey, and I will wear that jersey. So it's either Bo Nix, Ben DiNucci, or the MILF Hunter. What happens if the MILF Hunter exacts revenge? Think about it. Think about it. His mom's all dressed in her pom-poms, living the life, taking it out. So, no, the Broncos should win this. No, the Broncos should lose this game. Should.
Let's hope it's an early pull and Ben DiNucci's in and we get to buy our Ben DiNucci jerseys. Like you said,
So.
but also overall, I agree with you. We don't want Ben to go through this miserableness.
No, let Zach Wilson go through it. He's used to it. He's a tough cookie.
That's true. He was a Jet after all.
At that point, you're good for anything.
Next up, their first win at their first game against the Raiders. And the second of back-to-back home games is also their first game against the Chargers.
I'm definitely going to have them split.
Okay, who's winning the first one?
I want to give the Broncos some hope in the world, so I'm going to take the Broncos here. Okay. Take the Broncos here. Little light at the beginning of the tunnel.
Yes, the very beginning. So it's an interesting one. Now we have 7 straight losses going into the bye. A much-deserved bye, I would imagine, at this point.
See, that's the kind of bye that the Kansas City would like.
Yes. But no, they give it to the Broncos at week, whatever that is, 14.
Because after you've gotten your tail kicked as many times as the Broncos have, you need a rest. And here it is.
Yeah. So that, just a recap from previous shows, that's on the road on a short week in New Orleans, home to the Panthers. On the road.
Panthers fans, get some respect. You're welcome.
On the road against Baltimore, in Arrowhead, home to the Falcons, the Vegas game on the road, the other one, and then at home on a Monday nighter to the Browns, coming in at a whopping 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 2-11 going into a bye.
But those teams you named in that order, no one is going to bet. No one's going to say, "Oh yeah, Denver's winning some of those." I feel confident in that, so I don't feel bad.
Yeah, other than maybe Vegas, maybe the Panthers. So,
maybe exactly, yeah. But the Panthers should be marginal better. They should be better than what the Broncos are now. So let's keep it going. I'm feeling good now. Feeling good.
Last 4 out of the bye, we had them losing to the Colts. We have the other game against the Chargers. This one's on the road, and then we have them closing the season off with 2 losses on the road in Cincy and at home to the Chiefs. So how is that last game against the Chargers going to shake out?
Well, I told them there was a split, so they lose.
Okay.
they lose. Just put the wounded horse out to pasture. Just put it up. Take it to the glue factory, folks.
2-15. Ouch.
But you know what?
They 11 straight losses to end the season.
Okay, so you move a couple of those wins losses. It's still going to be the same result. They're going to be ready for what I'm trying to think. Quarterback-wise, who's coming out? Ewers, probably from Texas, is probably going to be maybe the number 1 guy. Now, if this was like next year, it'd probably be Archie Manning, but it's probably going to be Ewers or something. There's going to be some decent quarterbacks coming out. I'm just prepping them for a great run in the future. Congratulations, Broncos fans. You're welcome.
Sometimes you got to take a 2-win season and set up an 8-win season.
You got to take a 2-win season to set up a possible playoff berth down the road. You're welcome.
We all do it, except for obviously the Patriots, who can draft a quarterback in the 6th round.
Yo, man, watch in 3 years, watch in like 5 years, they're gonna be back in the Super Bowl. Freaking May.
So I guess we don't really have to go through the Chargers schedule since we've actually picked all but 1 game.
All right, so where are they at right now? Where are the Chargers right now?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 5-11.
Okay, I feel confident in this. See, I was a little nervous. I was like, "Oh man, did I only give them like 2 wins?" I was a little nervous there. So what's the 1 game? What's the 1 game here?
On the road against the Patriots.
What week?
Week 16. No, sorry, 17. Week 17. Second.
Oh, no. Sorry, Chargers. I think May at this point. I think the Patriots are slowly turning the corner here. I think it's going to be a tight one, but I think what happens is May leads a drive to win it, field goal, and here becomes the great legend. Mr. May.
Mr. May. Mr. May in January.
Hey, man, whatever you got to start it.
So I'll just rip it through. We had them losing at home to the Raiders, back-to-back wins on the road in Carolina and at home versus Pittsburgh. Losing at home to Kansas City, an early bye, a week 4 bye, because the Chargers, the Chargers can't possibly.
That's horrible. That's horrible. Why? Week 4. Okay, here's a bye week. Who needs a week? Whatever.
But here's a little glimmer of hope. That's 2-2 in second place after 4 games, because we have 0-4 Denver and 2-2 Raiders.
See that? So for the first quarter of the season, there's hope, and then all of a sudden, Buccs McGee says, let's start the show.
All of a sudden, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game losing streak. Back-to-back road games out of the bye.
No one can lose 8 in a row. I can't be that mean. Okay, here's where my
apparently the Broncos can lose 11.
Well, it's because the Broncos suck. Broncos are beyond suck, but okay. All right. Okay.
Home Saints at Cleveland. 3 straight home games. Titans, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. That's a Monday nighter. The Arizona game was also a Monday nighter. Actually, I don't think I touched on those 2 out of the bye. The 2 road games were Denver and Arizona. The Arizona's a Monday nighter. So then that Saints game was a short week-ish. On the road, Cleveland. The 3 straight home games, Tennessee, Cincy, and Baltimore. On the road to Atlanta. And then they get that little catch in Kansas City and a snoozer. That's a win. Loss at home to the Bucks. Win at home against Denver. The New England loss. And then they close out the season with a win at Vegas. So, 5-12 here.
Okay.
So, what was your margin of error with that one? Do you like 7-9 in the best?
They could. You know what? They possibly could eke out 2 wins somewhere. I could see it happening. I could see their ceiling at 7 wins. I just feel right now the run game is. I don't know what the run game is going to be.
Non-existent.
True. Wide receiver is going to be interesting. Keenan Allen gone.
Mike Williams coming off the injury.
Yeah, there's
the rookie Lance McCloskey. McClonkey.
Yeah, McConkey or whatever. Lamb. Who's coming Lamb? So it's one of those things where they're going to hang their hat on their defense. Is their defense going to be able to hold up? Like, are they going to be able to win like 17-14 and such like that consistently every week? Like, that defense is good. But, Bosa's got to stay healthy. Bosa sometimes gets nicked up and, ends up, being out a couple games, a year. You still got Khalil Mack. There's still talent on the defense, but the defense is definitely going to have to carry him because we don't know what this offense is going to be. So hopefully for Charger fans, I'm wrong. And, you pull out 7 to 8 wins and maybe just out of the playoffs. But that's where I like them right now.
And I should apologize to our audience because it skipped my mind in our first episode of Schedule Roulette. We didn't really talk about the Hardball Bowl much. So we'll talk about it here. That is 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, week 12. It's a Monday nighter. It's at home. Jim gets the home game. So, I mean, do you have what is your expectation for the Hardball Bowl? Is this just going to be an embarrassment because Baltimore is so far above the Chargers, or is this going to be something more of a spectacle? Maybe the Chargers will get up for it.
No, I think Baltimore handles business. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's like the first quarter is, it'll be competitive, but then I think after that, Baltimore just blows the doors off. I think, the Chargers, are going to have to upgrade at running back, upgrade at wide receiver. Probably, I honestly think at tight end too a little bit. I think they need some pass catchers. That's what they need. But from what everyone has said, this team's going to be more of a run-heavy team. I don't know how that bodes for them, but yeah, that Harbaugh Bowl is going to be over at halftime.
As long as it's not that. Who did the Chargers play? Was the Jets? There was some primetime game. I think it was a Monday nighter, and it was like 6-0 at halftime or 6-0 to the third quarter. It was just the most miserable thing you've ever watched.
And we were just sitting there like, is it going to end yet? It's like someone score a touchdown. Someone score a touchdown. But like I said, the Chargers have talent on both sides of the ball, but I just don't think offensively they have enough. They'll be in some games, but I just don't think enough. It's going to be one of those deals where next year I think they've got a better chance at a little more success, but this is the beginning of the growing pains.
Well, let's recap it. 12-5 for the Chiefs, a 5-12 tie for second place between the Chargers and the Raiders, and then Denver's pulling in last at 2-15. And considering that the Chiefs are dropping 1, 2, 3, 4 of their final 8, that might not matter because it might be sewn up at that point if it holds true to these picks.
This division could be worse than the NFC South. Like everyone's like, oh, that's the worst division in football, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but look at this bunch of winners.
Yeah. Because you've really only got 2 teams with established quarterbacks, and one of them has nothing else around him.
Yeah. So you can't sit here and sell me on the Chargers. You definitely are not selling me on Denver for nothing. I got a bridge you want to buy. Yeah, okay. And then the Raiders, it's just the situation of the quarterbacks are like O'Connell has to prove something. Like he has to have a breakout year for anyone to say, okay, the Raiders have found their guy. Because if they start bouncing back and forth between Uncle Rico and him, then they're done. And then at that point, yes, you trade Devontae Adams, get yourself a haul, and just start the process over. Get Pierce his quarterback of the future, get some pieces, and just move on.
Do you think it's the right idea for them to go with O'Connell into the season because he does have a season in Pierce's system now, or do you think it's just a ticking time bomb until they go with the veteran hand?
I think it's a ticking time bomb because they had a legitimate running back. They had a legitimate star running back, and you let him walk. So now, who's going to carry the ball? At least O'Connell had that guy who's like, all right, fine. If the pass isn't working or whatever, here we can start pounding the ball, and then we'll figure something out. Little play action, we'll work it out. Are you going to have that now? If not, then all bets are off. Then you may have to go with Uncle Rico because he's been in those situations. Like he went through that in Indy when Taylor was hurt, and had to work with some different guys. He's been through that. So now it's like, okay, well, this guy kind of knows what he's doing. If he can keep us afloat at 500, let's see what happens.
Well, you could definitely say we learned our lesson from picking this division last year. And the Chiefs running train through this, and everyone else just kind of left on the side asking, please, I'd like some more.
I swear, man, if like 3 teams make the playoffs out of this division, I'm never picking this division again. I don't care. I'm done. I'm going to flip coins, and that's it. I'm not going to use any type of sense in it. But let's just be realistic. The Chiefs are the class of this division, and the Broncos are just the bottom feeders, unless otherwise stated.
Yeah, that's right. We just skip over the AFC West from now on if we get 3 playoff teams.
We'll just say Chiefs winning the division. Move on.
Yes. Well, that's the Chiefs. I mean, couldn't have been that hard, right? I guess, but we stuck with it, and we got 2 more left. If you like the threads I'm rocking here, the link is below in the comments. Use code NUTMEG15 for discount off the Land Pirate shop on their website when you go check out. Bucks McGee Chiefs and not a whole lot else on the AFC West. Take us off air, sir.
There's really not much to this. Like we said, it's the Chiefs and everybody else. The Chiefs are their own worst enemy. It all depends on, if everyone can stay healthy and if those receivers can actually catch. For everybody else, Broncos fans, hey, you're playing for a number 1 pick. Get excited. Maybe Bo Nix is your guy and your number 1 is going to be a receiver, maybe. Who knows? Chargers fans, you are who you are. I feel bad for you. And Raiders fans, just bottom out, man. Just get your number one pick. Bottom out. Battle the Broncos for the number one pick. That's all I got. That's all I got.